Hello, I'm Mooney, and I don't think I established that last time. If you've seen my first video, then hi, welcome back, and thank you so much for waiting. I know it's been a while. If you're new, I encourage you to check out the first video on Moss Clan. But as a quick recap, there are 4 clans that live in a tropical park, and everything was well until 2 disasters. A massive storm followed by an earthquake destroyed the surrounding area. This severed the rope bridge that was connecting a clan to their Moonstone equivalent, along with the majority of Moss Clan's territory, and the fastest routes to Canyon Clan and Pebble Clan were also blocked off. In addition, a hole opened up in the ground and has been partially walled off by 2 legs wearing orange coats. Both ValleyClan and Moss Clan have sent patrols to explore, but it's to disastrous results. As for ValleyClan, they're described as conceited and generous, which I'm assuming is sarcasm considering how they've been bullying Moss Clan ever since they lost their home. Although not all is well for ValleyClan. As I mentioned before, they are also suffering from the effects of the earthquake and storm. Just outside their border, the dogs from Two Leg Place have been running wild, abandoned by their owners in the evacuation. So ValleyClan is essentially trapped, and normally there is a long route to the other 2 clans, but this has been blocked off because packs of dogs are constantly patrolling it. In some ways, ValleyClan probably does consider themselves generous to Moss Clan, considering that the piece of territory that was given to them is far away from this dangerous border, and they have given one of their most valuable hunting spots to them, known as the Perch Rocks. This is editing Mooney here. I forgot to mention that since these characters were taking a long time to make and I started school, you're going to see at some point that most of these character designs are going to be on a sketchbook, and then I do the lining over that sketch. This is just what I had to do for time, so sorry if you wanted to see more of the process. Starting off with a leader, B-Star, like Holly Star of Moss Clan, is a relatively new and young leader. She's all too eager to push around Moss Clan, which is historically ValleyClan's biggest rival, similar to ThunderClan and RiverClan in the first arc and the prequels. B-Star can be bratty and emotionally immature in her decisions, though she's also incredibly fierce and speaks with intimidating authority. She has a close inner circle of cats that help her guide her decisions. She can be fairly unpredictable and is prone to wildly changing her mind and stance on certain clan matters, especially regarding how she feels about outsiders that are not other clans. As we'll see later on, though, she has allowed many loners join her clan, especially since a patrol went into the hole that the 2 legs covered up. Nobody from this patrol returned with the exception of Shadowmask, so she's kind of looking to boost her clan's numbers as quickly as possible. Darklaw is ValleyClan's deputy and grew up as B-Star's best friend ever since they were in the nursery. Darklaw has always been aware of B-Star's assertive nature, but he always kind of brushed it off, viewing it as like his friend having great confidence that he wanted to aspire to. He was excited initially to serve as her deputy, but after seeing her send attacks upon attacks to the already defeated Moss Clan, he's ran out of excuses for her. And if you remember from the Moss Clan video, his sympathy for the rival clan unintentionally went too far. Orchid Fur is carrying his kits, and he is absolutely terrified of anybody finding out that he's the father. He does want to take a stance to de-escalate the tensions between the 2 clans, but as we'll see later, this will not be an easy task for him. Also, if you guys are interested in seeing it, I was thinking about making a short video for how Darklaw and Orchid Fur met. If I were to make this video, it would probably come out a lot sooner than the next clans video, so tell me if you would like to see that. Cootleaf is ValleyClan's sole medicine cat after her mentor died following the disasters. Cootleaf was scared to be alone, which is compounded by realizing that the bridge to the sacred area was severed, and with it her ability to share dreams with StarClan. And because of that, she's scared to take on an apprentice. Nobody knows she's not sharing dreams with StarClan anymore. Stormkit keeps on coming up to her den, and while she doesn't want to discourage him, she doesn't know how to tell him about StarClan's silence were he to become her apprentice. The closest she's ever gone to telling anyone is Darklaw after he asked if StarClan really does approve of B-Star's violent actions against Moss Clan. Cootleaf could only tell him that if they didn't approve, then they're not saying anything on it. While she's silently having this crisis, she tries to present herself as the calm medicine cat that everyone really needs right now. Moving on to the warriors, first we have Troutface. She's a senior-most warrior, but she doesn't intend to retire anytime soon. She's very dutiful, but doesn't try to stand out. She believes that a good warrior will stand by their leader, no matter their personal feelings. That's what separates warriors from a band of rogues, after all. She's hoping she's passing this mindset onto her apprentice, Bearpaw, though she's worried that Snakepaw is encouraging him to be more rebellious. Sootclaw is Darkclaw and Stripe's mother, and she's very intense, to put it lightly. And by that, I mean she's very, very violently xenophobic. Way before the disasters, when her kits were still in the nursery, her mate was killed in battle with Moss Clan. Never mind that this was a raid on Moss Clan's camp. Sootclaw just wanted bloody revenge. Sleekstar, the previous leader, didn't want another conflict so soon, so as a precaution, she put Sootclaw strictly on hunting patrols. Beastar has since loosened that leash, but she still avoids giving her an apprentice. Sootclaw is a major reason why Darkclaw is scared to stand up to Beastar's aggression towards Moss Clan. It risks her aligning to Sootclaw, and she knows that Sootclaw will not have issues leading her own raid on Moss Clan. Her grandkits mean nothing to her if they're half-clan. She's proven as much with her treatment of Stripe's kits. Hornettail is Beastar's sister and Waststorm's other daughter. Now, she may be bigger, stronger, and arguably smarter than Beastar, but Hornettail doesn't have the same authoritative presence or vocal demand for respect. She's the type to sit back and observe and handles business far more discreetly than her sister. Also, she's never had an apprentice before, and she was never eligible to be deputy because of that. Beastar gave her Leopard Paw, but her young apprentice went missing after the disaster. She does want to search for Leopard Paw, but due to the dogs patrolling around Two Leg Place, it's far too dangerous to leave the territory. In any case, Beastar is likely to use Hornettail's brief mentorship period as good enough qualification for the deputy position, should the need to replace Darkclaw arise. Speaking of danger beyond the territory, Shadowmask has a big soft heart and has always wanted to be the best warrior she could be. She was an orphan kit and was adopted into the clan a couple moons before she was an apprentice. As an outsider, she always felt the need to put herself out there and prove herself. Her mate Silvercloud reassures her that she's a real ValleyClan warrior, but that doesn't stop Shadowmask from participating in the patrol to explore the hole. This is the same hole where Moss Clan warriors were known to go down and did not come back out of. However, Shadowmask did actually come back out of it the way she came in. She was shivering, panting hard, and covered in all kinds of bumps and scrapes. She had to be carried back to camp and was treated intensely by Cootleaf for a few weeks. Beastar tried to press her to explain what happened down there and where everyone else was, but both times she broke down in an unresponsive panic attack. She's the only cat known to have gone in there and come back out. Darkclaw since has only been giving her camp chores because that seems to be all she can handle at the moment. She seems scared to go out of camp again after that. Silvercloud is known as a clan's nosy gossip, but she doesn't mean to be a mean person. She just has a hard time keeping things to herself. Cats are always looking around before they start sharing their secrets because Silvercloud is somehow always nearby, and she seems to know things she really shouldn't. This fact in particular makes Darkclaw anxious, because if she does know about his secret, then everybody else in the clan would know soon after. She may be a bit of an airhead, but she would never intentionally put kits in danger. When Applepaw, then a kit named Macintosh, came to the clan, Silvercloud and Shadowmask advocated for him to join. She was the only warrior willing to train him, which she happily does now. Cypress Pelt is a former kitty pet from the nearby ruined city. He and his mate Sandpelt were surviving in the evacuated ruins for a while, though soon after Sandpelt became pregnant and they came across ValleyClan. Originally, Beastar wanted to turn them away, but Hornettail managed to convince her that this would be good motivation for Applepaw to try to do better. She could tell at that point that spite would have been Applepaw's best motivator. There is also the fact that the patrol that went down into the cavern consisted of 6 cats, and Shadowmask was the only one to return. As for Cypress Pelt, he means well, and he just unintentionally comes off as obtuse when it comes to other people being upset with him. Crowblaze is Redstream's brother and Snakepaw's mentor after his previous mentor, Crowblaze's father, his name was Emberflash. was killed by dogs. Crowblaze was always kind of a berry nose. He's obnoxious, self-important, blindingly loyal, even if it means being a tool. However, he became just an outright bully after the death of his father. Upon Snakepaw's insistence, he, Emberflash, and Redstream found Leperpaw's stale scent trail. Leperpaw seemed to be wandering around aimlessly on the territory, but at some point her trail strayed too close to the boundaries of the city, wherein which a pack of dogs chased down the patrol. Emberflash turned around to face them so that everybody else could escape. Crowblaze blames Snakepaw, saying that Snakepaw was selfish. Just because his parents died, it doesn't mean he would have to be so inconsiderate of other cats' families. This is editing Mooney again. I forgot to mention that, in case you were curious, the reason why Crowblaze has a ginger tail is because he has a somatic mutation, which my understanding is what happens when two embryos fuse, and it gives you otherwise impossible color combinations. So I just wanted to add this so there's a visual reason why he's called Crowblaze. Although now that I think about it, Blaze could probably also refer to his personality, so... Redstream is traumatized, for obvious reason. Ever since witnessing Emberflash's death, she's refused to leave camp. Beastar is surprisingly fine with this, having two fully grown warriors taking care of camp chores. It just means that the 4 apprentices can focus on training. Thankfully, her mother Palmwing has recently moved into the nursery to help the 2 queens who are both very young and do need help, and Redstream could just really use the comfort. She's also been getting along well with Shadowmask, who until now she's accepted the ostracization of. It's sort of like a big sister, little sister relationship they have. Snakepaw is Bearpaw and Leperpaw's brother. The trio lost both their parents to patrol sent down to the cavern. Their parents went on it hoping that they would find Leperpaw in there, but after they didn't return, Snakepaw became even more determined to find his sister, and we know what that last attempt resulted in. This hasn't deterred Snakepaw though, and perhaps that is naively so. If anything, Crowblaze's harsh words spurred Snakepaw to plan another expedition. While he views himself as gallant and heroic, his clan just sees like an immature child that doesn't understand the consequences of his own actions. Bearpaw has always been the straight man of the trio of siblings, between Snakepaw's impulsiveness and Leperpaw's tendency to be the class clown, but ever since Leperpaw's disappearance, he's been quietly forming a plan to leave the territory, whilst avoiding all dangers outside the border. He's been sneaking out of camp to observe the schedules of the predators, recognize the habits of the dogs. Once he's certain of a date that they won't be spotted, he intends to make a break down the trail and beach to ValleyClan. However, he doesn't plan to bring Snakepaw with him. After what happened to Emberflash, he understands that Snakepaw is too much of a liability to come with. Although unfortunately for him, he hasn't seemed to pick up that Hornet Tail has been catching him leaving camp in the middle of the night. If he gets caught, he might end up having to abandon his plan altogether, racing down the beach and praying that he will find his sister there. Squirrelpaw, for all intents and purposes, is the princess of ValleyClan. She was found as a kit, dazed and dehydrated after the disasters. Even then, though, she wasn't keen on letting a bunch of strangers take her to their home. She even took a swipe at Beastar's face with her little kitten paws. Beastar found this amusing, though, and she knew she needed to have Squirrel as her apprentice. The leader's liking to Squirrelpaw, though, leads to this apprentice getting away with just about anything, from pulling pranks to the warriors to relentlessly teasing Applepaw. From the glimpses that Moss Clan has caught, they seem to think that Squirrelpaw is actually Beastar's daughter, considering her appearance and similar attitude, which is an assumption that Beastar is not really opposed to. Applepaw is Cypress Pelt's son, though his mother is not his current mate, Sandpelt. As a kid, Applepaw was known as Macintosh. He was extremely distraught when he found out that Two Legs would eventually take him from his parents one day. He begged them not to let the Two Legs take him, but his parents only shrugged. This is what kitty pet life is, but they have had previous litters before, and all their kits went to loving homes, so Macintosh shouldn't have to worry about anything, though this was a cold reassurance. Soon after Macintosh was adopted, the disasters hit. He stumbled into a patrol led by Silvercloud and was taken in. Eventually, he began to settle into his new home, finding comfort in it even though that Squirrelpaw was pretty annoying. Then his world turned upside down when Cypress and Sandy showed up. His distress didn't go unnoticed by Hornet Tail, who reassured him that those two would only be staying until the kits were able to travel. Applepaw just hopes that she's right. Palmwing is the older sister of Cootleaf. For reference, their age difference is similar to the one between Whitewing and her younger siblings. She's kind and cordial, but is also a fierce defender of younger cats. The scar on her face and nick out of her ear is from defending a young Bearpaw from a civet attack. Soon after the death of her mate, Palmwing managed to cope by moving into the nursery to help Stripe and Sandpelt, but also she could be a comfort figure to Redstream and Shadowmask. Sandpelt is Cypress Pelt's current mate. She was a neighbor from down the road from him. The two traveled together after the disaster, eventually stumbling into ValleyClan territory, while she was expecting. Due to the warrior code, they were begrudgingly taken in. Sandpelt was initially quarantined into the medicine den because she's a young cat that looked like she was balding prematurely. She's actually a Lycio, and she's very proud of her pedigree. The clan didn't know what that meant, and she ended up horrifying them with the concept of cat breeds. She's been enjoying clan life as a queen since it reminds her of when she was a pampered kitty pet, though she intends to travel back to her two legs house when her kits are able to. She's certain that she's too valuable to them to have left on purpose, and she wouldn't want her kits to grow up in the wild with all its dangers. Stripe is scared that Sootclaw is going to hurt her own grandkids for the circumstances of their birth. Stripe was stressed out after the events of the disaster and began meeting with a loner named Token. He thought that he would join him in the clan, but one day he stopped appearing. His temporary nest in the territory was found by her clanmates, and her secret was known to everyone. Beastar didn't feel the need to punish her, since, again, the clan needed more kits anyway. Stripe, however, is still dealing with the blunt of Sootclaw's violent xenophobia. Palmwing will always lead the kits away so that they don't have to witness their mother being yelled at by their grandmother. Storm Kit and Tempest Kit are 4 moons old now. Their apprenticeship is soon approaching. This has been giving Stripe a lot of anxiety because she's worried about what could happen to them when she's not there to keep an eye on them. And while this isn't unusual sentiment for a queen, considering the relationship she has with Sootclaw, the dangers aren't necessarily what's outside of the camp, but what's nearby. Waspstorm was deputy under the previous leader, Sleekstar. While he was deputy, he orchestrated Bee Strike's rise to power, convincing the leader to give her an apprentice, and then constantly pointing out her accomplishments before he retired. In a way, he was subtly implementing into the minds of his clanmates that she would be the only choice for deputy. He wanted to be sure that the next leader wouldn't be afraid to bring battles to Moss Clan. Also, it's worth noting that despite being retired, he goes out frequently and battle trains on his own. Whenever he's asked what he's preparing for, he only says, to meet an old friend. Alright, and that is ValleyClan. Thank you so much for watching, and I hope to see you in the next video. I'm not sure exactly what that will be, whether it's Darklaw meeting Orchid Fur, or one of the other clans. I'm still not sure which one of those two I want to start on first, so feel free to tell me in the comments which you would prefer. Thank you, and see you next time.